Good evening, everybody, and welcome to this evening's important update on Hurricane Otis. So, Hurricane Otis has explosively intensified to a major Category 4 hurricane as of 7 p.m. Central Daylight Time, Tuesday, October the 24th, with maximum sustained winds of 145 miles per hour, a minimum central pressure of 941 millibars, and north-northwesterly movement at 8 miles per hour. We also have two other disturbances, one off the Central American coast with a 50% chance of tropical cyclone formation over the next 5 days, and another in the East Central Pacific with a 20% chance of tropical cyclone formation over the next 5 days. So let's get into Hurricane Otis. Hurricane Otis is expected to intensify even further to a Category 5 hurricane overnight as he approaches south central Mexico and make a landfall tomorrow morning by 1 p.m. Mountain Daylight Time. We're looking at Hurricane Otis skirting along the coast into Thursday, where Otis will rapidly weaken due to the mountainous terrain of southwestern Mexico. Now, looking at the tropical storm force wind timings from the National Hurricane Center, tropical storm force winds are expected to begin at 8 p.m. Central Daylight Time tonight along the immediate coast of Mexico around Acapulco, and then spread further inland as we go into 2 a.m. tomorrow morning. And then as we go into 8 a.m. tomorrow morning, tropical storm force winds will continue to spread up the coast of south central Mexico. Looking at the latest Zoom Earth satellite imagery and cone for Hurricane Otis. Before I get into the interactive cone, I'm going to show you just how incredible Hurricane Otis is and how fast he intensified. So at 7 a.m. this morning, October the 24th, we were looking at a 70-mile-per-hour tropical storm, and in a matter of 6 hours, by 1 p.m. this afternoon, Hurricane Otis more than doubled in intensity in 6 hours, something I have never seen before with a tropical cyclone. So this hurricane is an absolute monster of a storm, and I'm not even sure if a hurricane or tropical cyclone has ever intensified this quickly. As we go into 1 a.m. Central American time tonight, we're looking at a 160-mile-per-hour Category 5 major hurricane approaching Acapulco from the south by about 50 miles. Landfall probably around 8 a.m. tomorrow Central Daylight Time. Going into Wednesday 1 p.m. Central American Time, 105-mile-per-hour Category 2 hurricane across southwestern Guerrero. And then going to Thursday 1 a.m. Central American Time, 60-mile-per-hour tropical storm in western Guerrero. And then we're going to see Otis weaken and dissipate by Thursday 1 p.m. Central American Time as a 35-mile-per-hour tropical depression over southeastern Michoacan. So if you're in Acapulco, make sure you're making your last-minute preparations, as this is going to be a very destructive hurricane landfall for your area. Looking at the latest infrared satellite imagery for Hurricane Otis, you can see just how fast Otis rapidly intensified from a tropical storm to a Category 4 hurricane. Literally yesterday, Otis looked very organized, even as a tropical storm. So it had that core of convection in the middle, and it had that opportunity to rapidly intensify this morning due to very low wind shear, very warm ocean temperatures, and moist mid levels of the atmosphere. You can see a perfect looking eye at the end of the frame. Looking at the latest key messages for Hurricane Otis, Otis is forecast to be a potentially catastrophic Category 5 hurricane when it reaches the southern coast of Mexico late tonight or early Wednesday, and preparations to protect life and property should be rushed to completion. A potentially catastrophic storm surge is expected to produce life-threatening coastal flooding near and to the east of where the center makes landfall. Near the coast, the surge will be accompanied by large and destructive waves. Heavy rain from Otis will continue to impact areas of southwestern Mexico this week. This rainfall will produce flash and urban flooding along with mudslides in areas of higher terrain. So, especially if you live in Acapulco, make sure you're battening down the hatches and getting to your safe shelter, as this is going to be a destructive hurricane making landfall tomorrow morning is a Category 5. And looking at the rainfall projections from the GFS European and Canadian models, the GFS model is projecting about 6 to 12 inches where Otis comes ashore around Acapulco, so flooding is going to be a big concern as well. Looking at the European model is also showing 6 to 12 inches in far southern Mexico in Guerrero, in the state of Guerrero. And then the Canadian model is also putting a good 6 to 10 inches across much of southern and southwestern state of Guerrero around Acapulco. So if you live across south central Mexico around Acapulco, you need to be really preparing for Hurricane Otis, as you're going to be seeing a Category 5 hurricane landfall early tomorrow morning. Thanks for watching this evening's update on Otis. Please stay safe and have a wonderful evening, my friends.